A decision must be made about your situation.
That's right.
But you see, the problem is that too often is that we feel that the situation is the end of the line for us. We feel that the situation is the end of the road, and so we sit in our brokenness and we sit in this place of complacency, and we think that, you know what, I've done okay up until now, so I'll just kind of coast the rest of the way and I'll be okay. Even though I've got this lingering situation, even though I've got this lingering sin or transgression in my life, you know what, my past will, all the good things I've done in the past will justify it, and I'm okay. I can just stay here and not move from this place. But the decision that David made was to live past his breaking point. Even though it was a situation that could have caused his demise, that could have killed him, David recognized that God was just in his judgment.
That's right. And
instead of trying to figure out why this had happened or how he had gotten to this place, David accepted God's will and worshipped. For you see, David still transgressed, and the child should have died, and so should have David. But the Lord preserved his life because he saw it good to have mercy upon him. But David's attitude at this point, he decided, instead of to wallow in his self-pity, instead of feeling sorry for himself with the fact that this child had just died, instead of feeling self-pity for his situation, David went and he worshipped. Now, too often as God's children, we allow ourselves to be seen as the victim of our situations. We choose to see ourselves as helpless, and we stay in the place where we are. But when we do that, we fail to realize that our Father is merciful and desires to take us past our breaking point.
That's right.
Even though we've been broken down to a place where we think we can't be repaired, we think there's no hope for us, the Lord desires to take us past this breaking point. For these situations in our lives, the Lord desires to use them to instruct us. For no doubt the Lord knew what David was going to do, for he's all-seeing God and he knows all things. He sees all things.
Yes.
No doubt he knew what would happen if David became complacent, if and when David became complacent and didn't go out to war. He knew that David was setting himself up for failure, but he allowed it. For you see, David had a choice, as do we all. Sometimes we say, oh, you know, this situation made me act in a certain way, or the enemy made me do it. But when it's all said and done, it's us who has the choice. We are the ones who are in control of our decisions. We have the mind to decide whether or not we're going to proceed in a certain manner.
That's right.
But just as we have the choice to choose our own way, so do we have the choice to get up past the place of our breaking. You know, there are times when we fall down on our face and we think that that's the end for us, that we can't do any more than what we've done, and we beat ourselves up and we become our own worst enemy because we allow our situation to consume us and to devour us and to kill us.
That's right.
But just as we have the choice to make the decision to get in the situation, we have the decision to get up and to move on. We have the power to be able to make up our mind that we're not going to allow the breaking to kill us, but allow it to teach us.
That's right.
For Romans 8:28-31 says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called. And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Now, Romans didn't say that all things would be good. Romans didn't say that everything in our life would be good, but he said that all things would work together for good to to them that love God and who are the called according to his purpose. I'm here to tell you this morning that we are all called according to his purpose.
Right.
No matter where you are in your situation in your life right now, you are called according to his purpose.
That's right.
No matter what trouble you may find yourself in this morning or what situation you're entangled in, you are called according to his purpose.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody believes that this morning, but you are called according to his purpose. And he's calling us to be conformed to the image of his son.
That's right.
Now, sometimes when we look at our own lives, it's impossible to see how we can be conformed to that image. To the image of him who was perfect and without sin. But he knew that we would have what is in our hearts. He knew those that would choose him. He knew those who would choose him.
That's right.
But he still gives us the choice to choose him. You know, sometimes when we talk about predestination, people say that, oh, well, if you're predestined, then, if you're saved, and that's it, that's all. But it's our choice.
That's right.
For before they were predestinated, he said, those he foreknew. In other words, he knew what choice we would make.
That's right.
But he allowed us to make the choice because God is not a dictator to say, okay, you know what, this and that and the other thing, that you must do this and you must do that. But he gives us the opportunity to choose him.
Right.
And to choose right, to choose wrong. You know, sometimes we're doing a Bible study and one of the questions I was asked when we were talking about Adam and Eve is, say, well, why did God put the tree in the garden? If he knew that Adam and Eve would choose to do wrong, why is it that he even put the tree in there in the first place? And it's because he loves us. Now, it seems strange to give those you love the opportunity to do wrong, but the Lord was giving us the choice.
Right.
The choice to love him back. The choice to choose him and to walk according to his way.
Right.
For otherwise, we'd be just like robots, just being obedient because that's what we're programmed to do and that's what we have to do.
Right.
But the Lord has given us a choice.
Free will.
And those whom he did predestinate, them he also called.
Right.
And those whom he called, them he also justified.
Right.
We can't justify ourselves.
Right.
We can't clean up our own act and make things well on our own. But the Lord, we need the Lord to justify us. For whom he has justified, no man can say otherwise.
Right.
But sometimes we get so caught up in our situation and caught up in looking at where we are now that we can't see past that place. But the Lord is giving us the choice this morning to come out of our situation, to live past this place where we are so that he can justify us.
Right.
And he says, whom he justified, them he also glorified.
Right.
What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? If God be for us, there's nothing that the enemy can bring our way that could turn us aside. If God be for us, there's nothing that any person or any evil force can do to come against us. For no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And all those who rise up against us, we shall condemn.
That's right.
But if any weapon formed against us comes, we have to take action. We have to work. The Bible says that those who rise up against them, you shall condemn. But if you don't condemn them, then you're silencing yourself. And you're silencing the power that you have. We have the choice to choose to allow the situations to rule us. Or we could choose to move on and allow us to walk in the way that God has called us to walk. Oftentimes, and I'm closing this morning, oftentimes we as God's children spend more time questioning why things happen rather than what. What can I learn from this situation? What can I gather from this situation to help me as I move closer to Christ? If we believe that all things work together for good, then clearly even the bad situations that come, even the trials that come, even the trials that come to test our patience, even those must serve some purpose.
Right.
And the purpose is not to kill us, but it's to make us stronger. For if the God we serve predestinated us, as in Romans said, then he must know that these storms will come into our lives.
Sure.
He foreknew us, and he must have known the path that we would take. But our problem is that as human beings, we love to be in control. You see, the minute things don't work the way we think they should work, or the minute they don't work the way we've envisioned, we think that there's a problem with the plan. We think that there's a problem, and so we rush like David did to try and find a solution. And when that solution doesn't work, we try to find something else to cover up what we've done, and and we just end up putting problems upon problems and making the situation that much worse. Why? Because we desire to be in control.